buddy, guess what I learned in biology today? What? I learned all about the cardiovascular system. That's awesome! I learned about the respiratory system too, dude. Why do we even need those systems?
I'm circulatory girl. Diffusion alone is not adequate for transporting substance over a long distance. The circulatory system solved this problem by ensuring no substance must diffuse very far to enter or leave a cell. By rapidly transporting fluid in bulk throughout the body, the circulatory system functionally connects the aqueous environment of the body cells to the organs that exchange gases, absorb nutrients, and dispose of waste.
So you know what I was wondering? What's the difference between a closed and an open circulatory system?
Well, there are three basic components of an open and closed system. A circulatory fluid, the blood, a set of tubes, the blood vessels, through which the blood moves throughout the body, and a muscular pump, the heart. In an open circulatory system, blood bathes the organ directly. In a closed circulatory system, blood is confined to vessels and is distinct.
Wait up, circulatory girl! So what are the pathways that hold all the blood?
Well, I think I'll let my partner answer that.
Well, here are some interesting facts about the veins and arteries and capillaries. Arteries transport blood away from the heart and carry oxygenated blood. They have relatively narrow lumens, are very elastic, and do not have valves. Veins transport blood towards the heart and carry deoxygenated blood, except for the pulmonary vein, and have relatively wide lumens, are not very elastic, and transport blood at a low pressure. They have valves throughout the main veins of the body. Capillaries are extremely narrow. Walls of capillaries are 1 cell thick. They are vital in the exchange of gases, nutrients, and metabolic waste between blood and tissue cells. Substances pass through the capillary walls by diffusion, filtration, and osmosis.
Back to you, circulatory girl.
Whoa, what are you doing? That's an LDL. That's bad cholesterol. In order to travel around the body, cholesterol combines with protein, forming lipoprotein. Protein coats the cholesterol, and here's where the difference is. The good cholesterol that we hear about is an HDL, high-density cholesterol. An LDL, low-density lipoprotein, is more cholesterol than protein and moves slowly through the bloodstream, becoming the bad cholesterol that creates clotting and heart attacks and death.
Blood clotting, or coagulation, is where the platelets in your blood come together and make fibrin strands to heal the cuts and stop the blood flow.
There are two nodes in your heart, S-A-N-the-A-V-N-O-D-E-S, N-O-D-E-S, N-O-D-E-S. They regulate your heart rate.
Cardiac output depends on heart rate, number of beats per minute, and stroke volume, amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle in each contraction.
Didn't we already know something about blood pressure? It's what we get tested on in the doctor's office, yeah. The measure of force that the blood exerts against the vessel walls. Velocity is speed with which blood flows differ in system.
The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs via the pulmonary arteries. As the blood flows through capillary beds in the left and right lungs, it loads oxygen and unloads carbon dioxide. Oxygen-rich blood returns from the lungs via the pulmonary veins to the left atrium of the heart. Next, the oxygen-rich blood flows into the left ventricle as the ventricle opens and the atrium contracts. The left ventricle pumps the oxygen-rich blood out to body tissues through the systematic circuit. Blood leaves left ventricle via the aorta, which conveys blood to arteries leading throughout the body. The first branches from the aorta are the coronary arteries, which supply blood to the heart muscle itself. Then come branches leading to capillary beds in the head and arms. The aorta continues in a posterior direction, supplying oxygen-rich blood to arteries, leading to arterioles and capillary beds in abdominal organs and legs. Within the capillaries, oxygen and carbon dioxide diffuse along their concentration gradients, with oxygen moving from the blood to the tissues and carbon dioxide produced by cellular respiration diffusing into the bloodstream. Capillaries rejoin, forming venules, which convey blood to veins. Oxygen-poor blood from the head, neck, and forelimbs is channeled into a large vein called the anterior or superior vena cava. Another large vein, called the posterior or inferior vena cava, drains blood from the trunk and hind limbs. The two vena cava empty the blood into the right atrium, from which the oxygen-poor blood flows into the right ventricle. This restarts the process.
Humans like us have hemoglobin in our blood, which is why it's red. Some fish have hemocyanin, which is why they have blue blood. Hemoglobin is 400 times more efficient.
What makes up the circulatory system?
The heart has 1 or 2 atria, chambers that receive blood returning to the heart, and 1 or 2 ventricles that pump blood out of the heart. And that's it.
The heart is part of the circulatory system. That is how we get oxygen to our cells.
Capillary hydrostatic pressure drives fluid out of the capillary and is highest at the arterioly end of the capillary and lowest at the venular end. The partial pressure is the pressure a gas would have if it alone occupied a volume. When you breathe in, the partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli is high, while the deoxygenated blood coming from the pulmonary vein is low, and thus oxygen molecules will diffuse into the blood of the capillaries.
Metabolic rate is an important factor.
Factor of what?
It's an important factor in the evolution of cardiovascular systems. Animals with higher metabolic rates have more complex circulatory systems and more powerful hearts.
They're exercising their lung capacity. Your lung capacity is made up of 3 parts: your tidal, vital, and residual. Lung volumes? The tidal lung volume is the amount of air exhaled in a single normal breath. The vital is the maximum amount of air exhaled after a maximum amount of air was inhaled. The residual is the amount of air that never leaves your lungs every time you exhale.
There are 4 types of respiratory surfaces. There are gills, which are used by fish and amphibians. Then there are lungs, which are used by humans and other invertebrates. There's a tracheal system, which is used by earthworms. And last, that's it. Hold my hand.
You see me swimming in the ocean, and that's how do I breathe. I say, I got gills.
Gills! You see me going through the earth like I'm a worm. I got the tracheal.
He's more aqueous. I'm more of a mammal. That's why we breathe so differently.
And that's all that we got. So now we're leaving.
That's good. Okay.
It's my baby and my go-go.